Well, good evening, friends. Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to thank you guys for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, this literally, it don't work without you guys. Whew. It's actually getting warm again. Had rain on and off today, and it's actually a little bit humid, but it's cooling down some. And I'm tired. I'm actually really tired. Just seems like there's just not enough hours in the day to get everything done, and I'm trying to get everything done. So, a couple of rumors I want to deal with. People are saying that Dak Prescott, he's going to hold out. Well, let's go ahead and deal with this situation here. If Dak Prescott were like Zeke Elliott was last year was the year to hold out. It isn't anymore. Okay, I'm going to tell you why. If Dak Prescott still had a contract and was trying to get a raise, like Zeke Elliott, the Cowboys had picked up his fifth-year option, and he still was playing on his fourth year. So technically, the Cowboys did not have to give him another contract. Dalvin Cook is on the fourth year of his rookie contract. Okay? If you hold out to try and get more money, okay, you've got until whenever to get that done. At least last year. Last year, you could get fined for not showing up and not being there. And when you came in, generally speaking, most teams would just forgive the fact that you were holding out and say, don't worry about the fines. Well, first off, that's changed. That has completely changed. They can fine you up to $40,000 a day, and the fines are not forgivable. And if you miss a preseason game, that counts as a game check. That's a lot. That's a 16th of your salary for one preseason game. So Dalvin Cook literally holding out, it doesn't matter. He's not going to get a contract. The Vikings might try and be fair and say, okay, we're going to give you one, but they don't have to. Literally, they don't have to, and he has no choice but to be there. If you're Dak Prescott and on a franchise tag, well, here's the problem. If the Cowboys and Dak do not come to an agreement on that franchise tag by the 15th of July, negotiation stops until after the season. Cowboys could come back and say, you know what, we want to give you $50 million. Doesn't matter after July 15th. Dak Prescott could say, you know what, I'd really like some cash. I'll settle for a $5 million a year contract. Doesn't matter because it's after July 15th. So for those that are saying, well, Dak Prescott, he should hold out, or hold out Dak Prescott, or he's going to hold out, it doesn't do you any good with a franchise tag because you have absolutely positively nothing to gain. We saw Le'Veon Bell do that some years ago because he didn't like the contract he got with the Steelers. He held out, ended up losing a year of football, and ends up signing a contract for less money with the Jets. And you could see the rust last year, and you got to look at that and say it was a disaster. You looked like you're on your way out of the NFL, whereas you were with a team that was a contender. That's one of those cases where you got to understand the grass isn't always greener on the other side, because Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown probably wish they were both still in Pittsburgh trying to keep the band together and make a run. So for Dak Prescott, sucks. It doesn't suck that you're going to get $31.4 million more money than any quarterback that the Cowboys have ever had in one season, but it sucks you don't have the long-term deal. It also sucks for the Cowboys because you could use that extra cap room possibly on somebody this year or roll it over and have it for next year because it creates more money for the Cowboys. And especially with the NFL and the NFLPA trying to work on an agreement so that way the salary cap won't go down. If they don't get something, then you're looking at teams having a lot of cap that's got to be cut. So having as much money from this year rolling over to next year is going to be important. So I don't see Dak holding out. It doesn't do any good. It really doesn't do either of them any good for him to play on the franchise tag. On the other side of it, you could look and say Dak Prescott might be pissed off and, want to screw the team over. Well, if you screw the team over, it kind of screws you over as well. Reason being is you want to get a contract on the having the leverage of having another great year. If you have numbers like you had last year, 2 in a row, if you stay healthy without missing a game in 5 years, then either the Cowboys have to man up and pay a boatload of money at a higher level because Pat Mahomes and Deshaun Watson get their deals, or they have to pay you that franchise tag again, which is 37 point some odd $1 million if the cap even goes down. Or they could choose to say, okay, we don't want you. But I can guarantee you that there'll be some teams that would definitely want to make a move for a guy that has those kinds of numbers. So that's where that whole situation is right there. Dak is going to want to come in and play lights out. And the other part of it with Dak Prescott is you've got to look at him and say that he may be the most prepared quarterback to deal with the Dallas Cowboys. Make no mistake about it. Being a quarterback in the NFL is a pressure cooker. It is the hardest position. It is the position where if a team wins or loses, you get the credit or the blame. And there's a lot of guys that have had talent, but didn't have it up here to be able to deal with the pressure. Dak Prescott is probably better suited than anybody else having a degree in psychology and working on that master's degree. That's right. And he's getting his doctorate, as in he will be a doctor of psychology. And dealing with some of you guys out there, yeah, that are crazy. Some some of you Cowboy fans and Eagle ones too. Some of you guys are certifiable and could use a doctor. And that, I believe, helps Dak Prescott deal with this stuff. Because that's a guy who has constantly been under the microscope, that everybody's basically looked at and said, you got no chance. But every time he's walked in, everywhere, from high school to college to the pros, he has played above and beyond expectations. So, you can say whatever you want. He ain't going to hear you. It ain't going to bother him. He's just going to go out there, put in the work, and keep doing what he does. Now, one other rumor out there is that the Cowboys should trade for Kyle Rudolf. Come on, man. Come on, man. Who makes this stuff up? Who literally makes this stuff up? Kyle Rudolph only had 300 some odd yards last year. Kyle Rudolph's coming off of a down year. See, this is a case where when you hear a name that you recognize, you automatically think, oh my God, we got to get that guy. A lot of people hear Giovanni and Clowney and think, oh my God, that guy's out there, sign him. But see, you have to understand, Clowney's best year, he's never gotten to double-digit sacks. Last year, coming off of a down year, going to Seattle, 5 sacks, and guys looking to get paid has a tendency to disappear. So back to Kyle Rudolph. It's a name you're familiar with. You say, oh my God, he's a stud. Well, he's not Gronkowski in his heyday. He's not Zach Ertz. He's not Travis Kelce. He's not any of those guys. You're actually better off holding on to Blake Jarwin. Their numbers last year, about the same amount of yards, without the same amount of playing time. And you're talking about $7 million this year, I think $8 million the next year. He's got a big-ass contract, and we're talking about having to trade for him. I know the Vikings are desperate to get some cap space and all that, but we don't need to be giving him that for a tight end. We're okay at tight end. At least that's what I believe. Whew. And I think that's about it. Other than frickin' Philly 500 constantly with my name in his mouth and now in his titles. Do I even want to listen to what that blowhard has to say? Do I? I try and be a global citizen. I try to be nice. But they just won't leave me alone, and they just make me into this guy I don't like to be. But if you think I'm going to be a punk ass bitch, Philly, you got something coming. All right, man. It's a little after 8. I don't know if this is going to be the fireside chat or not, but I actually tired enough to go carry my ass to bed. So much to do and not enough time to do it in. Hope you guys are being safe out there. Cover your mouth. Corona is not gone. It's not gone. Corona is still out there and still growing. And I don't want you to be a statistic. I'll see you soon.